24 grand finals. They only failed to pick up an elimination in one of those games. So expect some electric gameplay from them. Expect some aggression for sure.
I love that you're talking about aggression eliminations because I'm going to talk about placements now because in Major 2, out of the 12 games they played, in 11 of them, they placed top 15, which is just unheard of. My only concern, though, is that they're landing naughty nets, which isn't the most beneficial POI. They also have the likes of Queasy and Vino landing just to the west of them, so that's going to be a little scary.
It's a difficult spot to get Storm Surge from. Naughty nets has been traditionally one of those spots, particularly on OC. They don't have the practice on the global stage. I'm interested to see what they can bring to it today because they're going to have to pull out a few strategies.
For sure. Kelly, you said a duo, Queasy Veno. Why not talk about the other side of that coin? You know we have to talk about them. Cammy, Seti, right? Your invitational winners. They went from winning the invitational to not having the best start in Major number 1. But following, they really picked up the pace.
Yeah, I mean, we know this duo from this moment, isn't it, Kelly? What a moment this was. Invitational, Queasy and Veno contesting them at their drop spot, and we all know how this went.
I mean, knowing your POI and the ins and outs is so pivotal, and we see that in this moment at the Invitational, why that made such a difference, why Queasy and Vino didn't know that you couldn't build a wall there, and that's what separated them from success and failure. And I think they kind of got a little taste of their own medicine because in Major 3, we saw them have a little, Major 1, they had a kind of a rough start getting 23rd place right there. In Major 2, though, they got 5th place. And then in Major 3, getting 4th place, top 5 in 6 of the 12 games.
Yeah, and as you can see, they're landing at Frenzy Field today. The biggest question mark for this duo for this competition today is that they are actually contested, which is something we haven't seen from them since Major 1 this year. They didn't have a great Major, as you said, Kelly, but for them, they've been practicing a lot off spawn at the moment, and even they've actually been practicing their drops in Duo Cash Cups at Kenjutsu Crossing.
Who
lands at Kenjutsu Crossing? It's Queasy and Veno. Yeah, so I wonder why they could be practicing their drop at not their drop spot.
Probably no reason. There's probably no way that matters in any way, shape, or form. It's probably going to happen, at least we hope, even just a single time. Now, the beauty of being here in this setting is that we have the players standing by. We can actually talk with them. And who better to do that than none other than Frankie, who is standing by right here, right now, with none other than the man himself, Seti.
Yes, I am. I'm very excited. To be honest, I'm quite nervous, and he is cool as a cucumber because this man is no stranger to success at an international LAN. Seti, is this bringing back memories of the Invitational?
This is definitely bringing back many memories, and we're here to make some more.
Was that the best moment of your life, lifting the trophy in Rally?
Yeah, 100%, and I'm ready to make another one.
How do you top that, though?
I guess we'll have to see.
So tell me about this year, because it feels like you guys have been on an upwards trajectory, and you've had to adapt your playstyle from just being low ground to sometimes actually challenging for high ground. What's that been like?
It's been great. It's been great adapting, because now we can play low ground, mid ground, and high ground, so just great combination.
What about aggression? Because you're not necessarily a team that does go for eliminations. You do like to make the end game. Do you think that's going to be difficult for you to rack up those all-important points here?
I don't think it's going to be difficult at all. We're going to make end game, we're going to make some eliminations, win some games, and that's it.
Are there going to be any interesting off-spawn battles coming your way?
Oh yeah, obviously.
And what will happen if people do drop you?
Just be prepared.
I can't wait to see it. I imagine you and Cammy will be incredibly prepared. Thank you so much, Seti. Polska Gorum!
Polska Gorum!
Thank you so much, Frankie. And of course, Seti, you can see the focus in his eyes. He is looking to prove something. Could they be the ones to get the back-to-back from Invitational all the way up to Global Champions?
I think if you ask a lot of people, they would say yes. I mean, the type of players that they are, the way that they are, their sort of mindset towards the game, very, very cool. You saw it in that interview. Very, very cool. Very, very calm and collected. It's a duo you got to look out for.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely. Well, let's keep this ball rolling because we know we want games. Let's talk about the format. What does this look like? So we kind of talked about it. We have an upper bracket, a lower bracket, but let's break that down. So today and tomorrow, we have 5 games lined up. Then the top 25 from today will go straight to day 3 in the grand finals. The players that in that bottom 25 will go to day number 2, where players from the last chance major are waiting. Then in day 2, that lower bracket, the top 25 from there, will move on to day number 3. That will give us the top 50 best duos from around the world.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very exciting. I mean, this is something that we haven't seen too much before. I think a lot of players might be thinking, oh, you know what? Day number one, upper bracket, is just a good sort of day to have an extra one in the bank, right? You might see day number two as kind of like a backup in case things don't go well on day one, but no. You want to get rid of that mindset. Make sure you do it now. Make sure you're qualifying right here because you want to get it done early. You don't want to leave it till tomorrow if you can't.
Well, especially because all of these duos have been preparing for this day. In day two, it's 25 new duos that they'll be facing against with drop spots that they aren't too sure of. So that is definitely going to throw a wrench in some things. And also, a lot of these duos are used to having a day two to kind of prepare and research, but they're not really getting a 12-game series here.
Yeah, and I like that you kind of talk about this day two, 25 new teams. There's just so much to track of, especially when you have things like the points, right? We have 65 points for the Victory Royale. Every elimination is worth 4 points, and we cannot forget those all-important mid-match objective points.
Yeah, mid-match objectives obviously been recently introduced to the game. They already had a new dynamic to the game. Of course, we have the Forecast Towers worth 3 points, and of course, the Rift Island worth 15 points. It's an absolutely huge sum. A lot of players will actually sort of dictate their playstyle around those mid-match objectives, particularly with that island. We see teams going for that and making it almost their gameplay personality, going for that island every single game. And even the drop spot choice for the Forecast Towers, for some teams, that's absolutely vital.
Yeah, and it's not just the points they're going for. The Forecast Tower gives you forecast. It is an absolutely incredible thing to have in the game, knowing where every zone is going to be, getting those early rotations, putting yourself in a high advantage position and grabbing those Storm Surge tags. I can't wait to see how these teams utilize it.
I cannot wait. You guys have got me hyped. Now, of course, we're talking about what this looks like, these off-spawn fights. Well, let's hear from the players themselves. Check this out.
Being contested just means that at the spot you land, you have another team with you.
It's kind of like 50-50% chance like that you survive. You need to be lucky, get the right guns, get in the right position.
If you want to have good loot, you're going to have to fight for a spot.
Often it's seen to be a bad thing, but sometimes it can be good as well.
We're dropping on the racetrack. Currently we're contested by Aegis and Canada. I wouldn't say that I'm scared of them. We've been playing against better players off phone than them, for sure.
We're landing Pinksplit, so it's like in the middle of almost like all the good POIs. And we're contested by Acorn and Cold. And we're probably just gonna try eliminate them as fast as possible.
They're good fighters, but I think that me and Acorn are just better.
La verdad es que no tenemos ningún plan, solo que si ellos van a querer fightear, vamos a tener que terminar peleando y nosotros no tenemos miedo.
The main things I look for when landing a POI is how much metal it has. Wood and brick is everywhere around the map, but if you can get cap metal, you're already at an advantage.
If you don't get a gun instant, you have a really good chance of like getting out of the game really quick.
If you can't get a good drop spot, it just makes life 10 times harder for you. It's just one of the most important parts of the game.
If you're thinking of landing on us, good luck.
We've had teams contested, they got last place. They can try again.
If I eliminate Thomas and that would be the 6 games in a row, I'm 100% winning this tournament.
Everyone that contests us is gonna get eliminated. They're finished. They're finished.
Well, this is kind of interesting because I've just heard you two talking about each other in the video that we recorded on Media Day. And Thomas, you said that you have faced off-spawn battles against better players than Canada before. Can you look him in the eyes now and just reiterate that statement, please?
I mean, most EU players, like, in the top level is better than the NA players, so, I mean...
that's kind of true, but like, you know me, like I'm the FNCS winner, just won, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna see today, like, who's really the GOAT, you know what I'm saying?
And you also said, Canada, that if you win all the off-spawn battles today, you're taking that trophy. But I thought, after watching your Major 3 winners interview on FNCS, that you didn't care about winning here.
I mean, like, being contested, like, it sucks. Like, I was contested, like, FNCS Major 2, and, like, you can't really do anything about it. But, like, when I heard I was coming to Copenhagen, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm here to find a girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? The Danish girls are here, they're pretty beautiful, so.
Can I keep your eyes on the prize, though? Because there is a trophy out there. You're gonna go and have a date with it in a moment. So you have a think about what really matters in life, and I'll give you a hint, it's Fortnite. And I'm going to come back to Thomas, because I want to know why you're so devoted to dropping at racetrack.
I mean, we've been learning that the entire year, so we wouldn't switch drop. Like, it would be dumb. We haven't practiced anything else, so yeah.
And what's happened when other people have tried to drop you there?
I mean, it's been ups and downs, but we're trying to like learn how to play it the best. But yeah.
You don't want to just learn how to play it the best, though. You want to play it the best, especially if this guy is coming at you all aggressive and American-like. What do you think you'll have to do, though, if the battles don't go your way? Are you going to agree to just split the POI, or is it just going to always be all-out aggression?
It's going to be 50-50 on the slope truck every game. So, I mean, Canada haven't touched the game for 4 days, so...
I played this morning for like 2-3 hours. I'm feeling good. My finger's looking good, so I'm looking good.
And just one more question. How long did you play this morning?
I didn't play this morning, but I played like all week, so yeah.
He's fresh, he's warmed up, and I'm excited. Let's head back to the desk.
Kanata, always the jokester that he is. This is an off-spawn fight we will be seeing happen at the racetrack. Obviously, Kanata, coming off a recent win, does hold the axe of champions, going up against Thomas HD, someone who has yet to get a win. What can we expect from this head-to-head fight?
This head-to-head is going to be very, very exciting. I mean, we've seen Malabuka and Thomas HD. They're actually contested in Major 2 by Tusen Putrik, and they actually still managed to get a 3rd place. They were kind of half-splitting the POI at that stage, so I think they might sort of do the same maybe if it's on day 2, but day 1, they still have tomorrow to go. I think it's going to be all out 50-50, as they mentioned. They've got to go for it.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a different story for Kanata and Agers, who, when they were contested in Major 2, got 12th place, and then when they were unconned, of course, in Major 3, they walked away with their first FNCS win. And a lot of that was due to their loot pathing, being able to quickly loot up the entire racetrack, and then be able to rotate quickly for an early tower to get those surge tags. But I think there's a possibility to split racetrack. There's great metal and brick. It's splittable by the west and eastern side. You have the slurp truck on the west side, and then you have that forecast tower towards the eastern side. So, I mean, they just said it's a 50-50. I do think that once one of them sees how rough it's going to be for them on the drop, that they might try and split it.
I mean, I spoke to Malabuka yesterday. I had a little talk with him. I was like, mate, how you feeling about tomorrow? He said, it's duos. Anything can happen. We don't know what's going to go down. And I'm sure for a lot of fans in here, for a lot of fans are all over Denmark, they'll be feeling like this is Thomas's destiny, right? Hasn't won an FNCS yet. And what better place, what better time to do it than now?
And Thomas just is regarded as one of the best mechanical players in the world.
Yeah.
Teamed up with Malabuka, who's regarded as one of just the best players in the world. I cannot wait to see this duo go up against Kanata and Agers.
Let's keep this conversation going. We have to talk about more duos. Relentless Retreat. Cal Gamer up against King. Yes, it's that King. Top 5 of the World Cup King. Probably BR's best player, or regarded the best player. That King.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is Relentless Retreat. Anything can go down, Kelly. This is where it all happens. We've seen different playstyles from these guys throughout this season. Of course, Cal Gamer seemingly getting it unconned in Middle East. Everyone in Middle East is just feeling like, you know what? Yeah, let's just let him have it. He's the king of this area. But King himself has been actually contested by another duo throughout all the cash cups, and they don't seem to be fighting. They seem to just sort of be splitting the POI a little bit. So I'm interested to see how this dynamic works between them both.
I like that you're talking about the dynamic differences that we see, because both of these duos here also have a lot of similarities. Both of them back-to-back champions in Major 2 and Major 3 for their respective regions. But I love that you talk about Cal Gamer and how respected he is, because he might be one of the most studious players that we have ever seen in Fortnite, comparable to players from just any region from around the world. And again, Relentless Retreat is a splittable POI, but what I'm interested in seeing is that it takes about a minute to be able to get down into the vault for those mythic POIs, and whichever team is able to get down there first is probably going to have the upper hand.
And I'm really glad you mentioned that, because I was actually speaking to King. Yes, I get to speak with all the players. You know, we all get on. But yeah, me and King, we were speaking out. We're actually watching them scrim, and they're actually trying to practice the quickest route to that mythic vault. It shows how much they're going to prioritize that. They're making sure they get there as quickly as possible, because the loot that's in there is absolutely valuable.
Well, you've heard our thoughts on it, but why don't we head on over to Frankie, who once again has a head-to-head for us. Take a look.
Thank you. Yes, I have been very fortunate to be joined by Cal Gamer, who is the king of the Middle Eastern region, but also king himself, one of our Argentine players who's representing Brazil. And both of these players have won 2 majors alone this year. We're also joined by Daniela, our fabulous translator. So Cal Gamer, I'd love to speak to you first. I know that you are someone who researches your opponents. Have you watched any of King's matches, and do you have any opinions on how he plays?
I haven't watched him that much, but I watched a little bit, and I realized how he plays, and he's not very good. So that's why I'm there.
And why would you say you're a better player than King?
I mean, it's just the facts. You know, he's just not that good.
Are you going to put your money where your mouth is later, though? Because you are dropping at the same spot as him on Relentless Retreat.
Yes, I don't really want to talk too much. I mean, after a few hours, we're going to play and see what happens.
Shukran, okay. Well, I'll go and talk to King then while you get your thoughts in order, and we'll come over to Daniela as well. King, you are arguably the greatest player in the Brazilian region right now. Tell me why Relentless Retreat, though, is a spot that you're going to win when you drop on it against Cal Gamer later.
¿Cómo vas a hacer el drop spot ahí cuando vas a bajar del bus? ¿Cómo lo vas a cuál es tu método?
La verdad es que no tenemos ningún método, solo que nosotros tenemos nuestra parte, que es la derecha del spot, así que nada, si ellos van a querer caer ahí, lo van a tener que disputar con nosotros. Y nada, ojalá que ganen, que tengan suerte.
We don't have like a method that we're gonna do, but we're gonna attack from the right side, and we hope we're gonna win, and we will do because we are the best. Yeah.
Cal Gamer has given his opinion on you, but what's your opinion on Cal Gamer? Have you seen him play?
La verdad que sí, hemos visto varios games, pero la verdad que no me asusta, ya que bueno, yo estoy confiado junto con mi dúo. Y nada, si van a querer disputar la bóveda, podrían pelear tranquilos, que nada, los esperamos, no tengo miedo.
We are waiting for them. We see them playing, and they're not so good like they thought. And I'm sorry, it's Argentinian, so we talk too fast. So he will fight until the end.
I'm really looking forward to the fight. Hopefully the end will be in the aim game for both of these players rather than at the Relentless Retreat. Thank you so much, gracias, mucho gracias. And Shukran, thank you so much for talking to me, Cal Gamer. We will see what happens between these two and their duo partners when they drop on Relentless Retreat in just a few short moments.
So they can't both be bad.
They just have no respect for each other, do they? Like, no, mate, you're not having it.
He's bad, no, he's bad. We're both bad. Yeah. Of course, just some friendly trash talk, right? As we prepare for the global championship. That's kind of, I guess they're both in high spirits. That's kind of where you want to be, right?
I think they're just trying to get in each other's head, aren't they, really? That's all it is.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, I don't even want to, you know what, that's fine. Just
yeah, that'll do.
That'll do. Guys, we actually have something very special lined up, and we have a remote interview with the man, the myth, the legend himself, my oldest friend in the world, Cypher BK. Cypher, I don't know if you can hear it, but the crowd is going absolutely ham right now. How you doing, man?
Yo, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here for the FNCS Global Championship, even though it's remote. I'm excited to watch a ton of Fortnite this weekend, and I am personally rooting for Clix and Epic Whale. I want to see Clix get his first FNCS championship.
That is amazing. Dude, how has it been? Like, obviously, you've been watching, right? We've seen all of these duos just kind of grow and evolve over the year. What are your expectations for the competition?
I mean, I want to see a repeat of what happened at the Invitational, just like a super intense, like first and second going head-to-head in the last match. I think we're going to see something, and we're going to see some early drop fights and whatnot, but yeah, I was there at the Invitational. It was just electric, and I'm hoping we see that again here in Copenhagen.
How crazy was it back in Invitational, right? Kind of the first time we'd had a LAN like that, and now we're back, but the stakes feel so much higher. You talked to a bunch of players. What were they kind of feeling at that time?
I mean, everyone is always a little nervous before the tournament, but I think once they're in the battle bus, like, it's game time, and the stakes are really high. I mean, this is like the biggest prize pool since World Cup. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like $1 million for the first place duo. That's that's a life-changing amount of money. So I think it's going to be intense. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Cypher, for those of you or them out there that don't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about who you are? Because I want everyone in the world to know about you.
I mean, I am a very big Fortnite fan. I've been playing it since the very beginning. I was honored to be among the Icon series last year, and it's just, I'm still loving this game, and I'm super excited to see what you guys have cooked up for the last couple of months of this year, because it's looking crazy.
That's awesome. Cypher, where can all these new fans find you?
Cypher PK on pretty much any platform.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciate it, and we hope you enjoy the competition. Thanks, y'all. Good luck out there. Going crazy. That's right. Y'all can go crazy for Cypher BK. He's a legend. Y'all, this crowd is the best crowd I think we have ever had.
Yeah.
And that's great because we're going to see next level Fortnite. I don't know that I'm like prepared for what we're going to see this weekend.
I mean, I know the crowd already. I've seen a lot of cheering so far. There's a group over there. I think they're from Gentle Mates from the French region. They've been really hyped, and you can see them over there. There we go. I don't know if you can hear it, but yeah, they're really, really hyped. I'm excited to see all the other regions that are taking part today. All the fans. I'm feeling excited.
Listen, I know that the fans in the audience are ready, but I want to know if the players are ready.
True. That's right. Well, we are not that far away, so you've gotten our thoughts. Why don't we get the thoughts of our casters as we draw ever closer to the competition?
Yeah, I must say, especially after watching the head-to-head interviews there, that I'm feeling so good, and I'm looking forward to, of course, the competition of the contention that we're going to see on the drops.
And what I love the most, too, is that it's one thing to know your drop spot, but for all of these representative regions, you have to keep in mind, it's the international competition. It's the global championship. So just knowing your drop isn't good enough because every region is going to have their own sort of flair for the competitive meta. And it's going to be a really interesting dynamic to see how some of these players choose to break into it, because even at the Invitational, where we last saw some international competition, one thing where I think some of the other regions in general might have struggled with was the surge strategy. So I want to see how well that's been wrapped up to be brought here today.
Well, we know a couple teams aren't going to have any surge issues. It's those that, of course, are competing against one another, especially Kanata. Let's just back up here and really touch base about the problems that he's going to face right now. Kanata and Agers are surely, two of NA's best, right? And they have a difficult task in front of them. Thomas HD, Malibuka, right? He was really honing in on the fact that he has been playing all weekend long, and he feels like Kanata's focus isn't quite there. Is that going to be the default in his playset?
And that's the false sense of security that Kanata's trying to implement into Thomas's brain right there, because at the end of the day, Kanata is a competitor. I mean, he is one of the few players that we have here that's actually got some of the most FNCS appearances.
Well, you know what? We've had a long road to get here, and all of a sudden, we are closing in on it. So let's go ahead and dim the lights.
Fortnite fam. A year-long competition has led us here to Copenhagen. These players have fought through the FNCS gauntlet, 3 FNCS majors, and a last chance major, all to battle it out here on this stage. These players have put everything into this competition. 6 regions, all going head-to-head to prove who's the best. But it's about so much more than just that. It's about holding the axe of champions high. It's about hoisting a championship trophy, banking their share of $4 million. But above all else, it's about a title that comes with the highest prestige, FNCS Global Champions. After this weekend, one duo will break through and stand undeniably above the rest. So get ready. This is the FNCS Global Championship.
The stage is ready. The trophy is here. But you can't crown a champion if there are no contenders. Copenhagen Royal Arena, are you ready to meet the players? Let's bring them on.
They're gonna come to the stage right now, and of course, most importantly, it's the battle that they had to fight through to be here. Bullying their way through the Shockwave Hammer meta, one of the most destructive seasons.
They have to brace for chaos as these players now step into the most chaotic environment they have faced all year long. And with 196 total finals appearances spread amongst all of them, they are here to show exactly why they're the forerunners of their respective regions.
And you think about it, they had the first chances, the first opportunities put in front of them, and they did just that. They secured it, and here they are. Let's go, Copenhagen. Y'all went absolutely crazy for the players. That is what we are here for. We don't have this competition without them, so y'all definitely feel free to lose it when you guys see them come out on the stage. My gosh, that is just the qualifiers from Major number 1. There's so many big names. Thomas HD, though, Malabuka. That's we have eyes on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I heard a massive cheer.
Yeah.
And we're hearing it right now.
I wonder why.
I wonder who they're cheering for. Is it Thomas HD?
Yeah, I think
it might well be because he is the Danish man himself. What a perfect player when you think about all of his attributes. So smart. His aim is next level. And of course, paired up with Malabuka. This is a dangerous duo. Only bad thing, contested today. But they have so much skill in this duo that they should be able to overcome the problem.
We've seen sometimes being contested can be a little bit beneficial.
Sure,
and we
sure.
saw them have an incredible performance in Major 1, getting second place and only losing by just a single point. They are the best team to have never won in FNCS, but I think that they may be changing that this weekend.
That would be so crazy, right? No FNCS title, but a global championship title? That would be next level. We talked about EU. How about we gone over to NA, Acorn, and Cold? I feel like so many players and fans alike talked about this duel when they won, saying this is probably one of the best duels in NA, period.
Yeah, there was a lot of hype around this duo when they performed in Major number 1, of course, coming out with a great performance. I like this duo. You saw combine a really, really big brain IGL in Acorn, and arguably one of the best fraggers in NA in Cold. This kid is crazy, and I'm expecting to bring that dynamic. You can see them on the screen right now. They're looking happy, they're looking excited, and they should be, because they're a top team.
And we saw what Cold can do on a LAN setting at the Invitational, getting a 3rd place finish with his old duo mate Scented. And I mean, their placements outside of Major 1 was 6 in both Major 2 and Major. Even when they're doing their worst, it is still so vastly better than most of the competition.
Now, of course, that was a look at just the qualified players from Major number 1. We have 2 more to go. So please give a warm welcome for your qualified players from Major number 2.
The kinetic blade was the season. It was also the problem that they had to learn how to overcome, learn how to make theirs, and perform to the best of their capabilities because, my oh my, what a destructive time it was.
They really had to slice their way through the competition to qualify for globals. But more impressive still is the sheer amount of experience that this particular group of contenders carries with them. Considering 18 out of 24 of them have played on a LAN stage here before.
Can you imagine having that experience, bundling it all up and then putting it out right here in front of you where there is your chance to make the bulk of $4 million. We know who you're looking at. I know who I'm looking at. But most importantly, can they step up? Can they perform here now as the times and options are limited? There's only 5 games.
I mean, if that was it, right? If that was just the let's go, everyone's here, let's hit play, I believe that's a grand finals lobby. There's still more seats to be filled, but as we focus in on the qualifiers for Major number 2, Queasy Venno. This stadium went crazy when they walked by that trophy, some would say these are the villains of this arc, right? These are the guys that went up against Seti and Cammy and fell short. Now they want to come back. They want to come back even stronger than a year ago.
Yeah, definitely one of the best teams in EU. I think that's without doubt number 1, number 2, number 3, one of those 3, because these guys are absolutely incredible. We saw in Major number 2, 12-game grand finals, 6 victory royales. I don't understand how that's even possible. And then arguably the biggest upset when of course they didn't qualify to Major 3 grand finals. How does that affect their mentality going to this? Is this now a bit of a redemption for them? Not winning an invitational, not making Major 3 grand finals. What a better time to do it.
Listen, the whole adage, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, or shame on you, or whatever. It may be something like that.
I'm not good at those.
They changed their drop spot at the Invitational, and it potentially cost them that first place spot. And then in Major 3, they changed their drop spot again and didn't even qual. So I think that they're going to be sticking to their guns and going Kenjutsu crossing and potentially going to be coming out on top in day 1.
There are so many big names. We have to continue the conversation. Miro and Cooper now kind of focusing in on NA. Miro just ridiculously decorated.
Yeah, a really, really decorated player in the NA region. Won so many FNCS titles, paired up with a less experienced player. And this is a really nice storyline because you have the experience of Miro. He's actually not IGLing this duo. It's usually Cooper that takes that role. And he's actually saying, you know what? I'll take the reins. I'll use your experience when it comes to fragging because Miro's just one of the best in the world at that. And of course, he can lead the way, lead the tops, and make sure they make their way to endgame. This is one of those duos that I'm really, really excited to see how they perform on LAN because both of them are very, very talented, but together, we're yet to see them in this stage.
No, but we did see them perform incredibly well in Major 2, getting a 2nd place finish. And I think Rumble Ruins is a great POI for them, being in the center, being able to handle rotations, which seems to be a little bit of an issue for them in earlier seasons. So I'm excited to see Miro, obviously, as you were saying, an incredible player, a 5-time FNCS champ. However, most of those wins were with his old duo mate, Booga.
Absolutely. Well, we have one group of players left, so Arena, welcome them. This is your qualified players from Major number 3. And as we all know, Fortnite is ever changing and evolving season to season. You never really know what you are going to get, but guess what? This team, these players had to go against the zero mobility when it was arguably so difficult.
And what they might have lacked in mobility, they certainly made up for as far as adaptability is concerned. Because having gone through every single iteration of competitive seasons, competitive metas, to find themselves here at the global stage, that is the embodiment of mental fortitude.
And really and truly, it's one of the hardest things to do is when it's your last chances, when it's your last opportunities to punch your way straight through to the biggest opportunity of your career. And it's time to put up those numbers. Can you do it? Surely all of our Major 3 qualifiers had to play with that pressure. They had to play with that knowingly, a looming pressure of, I can only do this one more time.
And again, considering what's at stake, considering that they want to go straight in to that finals lobby here on Sunday, this is their moment to siege it all.
That's right, there are no more chances up for grabs here other than the 5 that's put in front of them. You want to do it here and now. Will you be one of the first top 25 duos to punch through to Sunday? We'll find out.
I know you felt that. These are incredible players. This is 50 of the very best. The upper bracket all facing off today. You can feel it. The atmosphere is electric. It's not just this amazing crowd. It is every single one of these players. They all know what they have to do. Top 25 by the end of the day.
Yeah, this is it. This is our lobby. I mean, we haven't spoken about, in depth. How can we not? Booga, the man himself. What a player, of course, the World Cup winner. How many times have we said World Cup winner? Does anyone need to be reminded at this stage? World Cup winner?
No.
Not really.
I mean, Booga and Threats, I love this duo here. Booga obviously having the history and the knowledge with Threats, having just some of the most insane aim in the game. Having these two powerhouses together definitely excites me. And what excites me even more is that they're landing Sand King Suites, one of the new POIs, where they're going to have those 2 mythic podiums, and it has absolutely insane amount of chests, ammo, and loot. So even though they're going to be contested by Nutty, I don't think that's going to be too much of a concern for them.
Yeah, and I was speaking to Thresh yesterday. I was saying, how are you going to approach that off spawn? He said, mate, there's so much loot at this drop spot. We're not too concerned about fighting each other off spawn, but we want that vault. They're going to be going for that vault every single game, so we'll see how it goes for them.
So insane. More duos to talk about. Iamzo and Rise, front runners from NA, a duo that all of us just feel and expect such greatness from them. Now the question becomes, how do they perform on LAN?
Yeah, the Canadian duo here, a lot of people had a lot of expectations for them going into Major 3. Donda's the best team in NA at that time. Didn't quite live up to that first place, but still managed to get a third place overall. Lots and lots of hype around this team. We haven't seen them perform on LAN yet, so this is going to be a very, very big test for them. Will they live up to that hype? Will the weight lay on their shoulders a little bit and maybe put a little bit too much pressure on them? I'm not sure, but either way, they have the talent.
I mean, you're talking about third place in Major 3, but I don't think that paints the full picture because in Major 1, they also got a third place. In Major 2, their worst performance was 4th. Yeah. They have the best placement between all 3 majors than anyone else here. And they're going to be landing in the gas station, which is a great split POI. So I think they might be the kings of NA for today.
What about the kings of OCE? Could that be Worthy and Alex? I had an opportunity to meet Worthy, just a sweet guy. Yeah. But Alex is pretty widely regarded as the best player in OCE.
Yeah, 100%. Such a recognizable character in the OCE scene as well. And these guys definitely pack a punch as a duo. In Major 3 Grand Finals, Alex on his own had more eliminations than 33 teams had eliminations. So him as a solo is outperforming some duos, which is absolutely insane. A big thanks to Coach Timmy for that stat, because that is just showing how good these guys can be when they're on this big stage, when they're in those Grand Finals. They do not crumble under pressure.
Well, I mean, I think that incredible power is showcasing also in Majors 1 and 2. He placed 5th and 3rd, but just him because this duo formed in Major 3. They might be actually the newest duo that we're going to be seeing compete here today. And they're going to be landing near that creaky compound where there are so many teams landing there. It's going to be interesting, to say the least.
To say the least, indeed. Now, of course, we only have 5 games here today. Pressure is on. With less games, you cannot make a mistake. How much does even just this going down to 5 games change everything?
I mean, it changed everything, particularly if you are contested. If you lose off spawn, that's a 5th of your games gone, where previously it was a little bit less than that. So you have to make the games count that you are contested off spawn. We talked about Malibuka and Thomas HD versus Ages and Canadas earlier. If those guys don't have a good game when they make it off spawn, there's no guarantees that you'll make the next one off spawn. So you have to make it count.
And we always talk about, you know, maybe they're a day 1 team, a day 2 team. Oh, they're going to have an opportunity after day 1 to VOD review and look. They're not going to have that opportunity. No. Essentially, these are like 3 separate tournaments each day. So these teams are going to have to do everything they can that day to get in that top 25 spot.
Yeah, I think when I think about more of these duos that we're going to see, right, Tayson and Merstash, another duo that kind of just jumps to the front of my mind. Tayson, I mean, if you asked any EU player, you just said the name Tayson, they'd be like, yep, I'm scared, I'm good, leave me alone. But also now paired up with Merstash. Where are these guys landing? What can we expect from them?
I mean, Tayson widely regarded as the GOAT of Fortnite. However, there's a big however.
Okay.
He's yet to do it on LAN. He's yet to do it on this massive stage. So a lot of people would say he's the online GOAT, which I agree with, 100%. He's won so many FNCS across different game modes, different chapters, whatever the meta, he is on top. But what a perfect time, what a perfect storyline for Tayson and Merstash to finally do it, to finally crown Tayson as an in-person winner, not just online.
Yeah, and we're talking about Tayson, but Merstash is also an incredible player in his own right. But there is a thing such as tournament jitters, and Tayson definitely seems to have an issue with that. Being in front of all of these people, thousands of people on stage, is a little bit different than playing at home in front of your own setup and everything. But I think with the right preparation, they've had a lot of opportunity to practice leading up into this, then maybe he can finally be the LAN GOAT we know he can be.
But how much of that, you kind of talk about being here in front of the crowd, even that one mistake, how much could that affect those mentals, right, Kelly? Because it's easy to say at home, I made a mistake, I'm out, okay, let me just get up, walk around, whatever. This is so very different.
think it depends on the players and the team. When you have someone like Kanata, which if you guys haven't had the opportunity to watch the Major 3 playback of him, where essentially the entire time he's just screaming, Agers, Agers. I think having mentality like that, even when you're down, is such a big deal. And you'll hear a lot of these players, what's a big part of your success in winning this major, that major. And a lot of them will say keeping their head in the game, even when going down, just talking about what went wrong and moving on from it instead of dwelling on it.
So different. It's so different being in this environment. You know, you're at a different desk. Everything's a little bit different. A chair potentially is a little bit different as well. So everything is almost alien to you from what you're used to. You can't just get up after a bad game, go have a cup of tea and relax in the living room. You have to stay in this area. And that's what can add to the pressure as well. You're in this area, you're in this zone. It's now or never. Can they do it?
I wanted to ask a question here. So obviously the bottom 25 move on to tomorrow, okay?
Yeah.
So if you're one of these duos that find yourself in the bottom 25, let's say they've revealed some kind of strategy. Is that good? Is that bad going into lower bracket? Is there some kind of advantage or disadvantage to doing so?
As I said earlier, I don't think you should be aiming or hoping that you get in the lower bracket.
Right.
It's not something that you want. You want to be getting into the grand finals today, now. But if you do end up finding yourself in there, things could definitely change. I think tonight's going to be a very important night for these teams that are going to find themselves in that lower bracket, because there will be 25. And I think that's going to play a big part, because then they'll start to figure out where are we going to be dropping, where's our loop path going to go. We don't know.
I'm getting word. Ooh. It's time. Now, as we prepare for this first game, you guys find your seats on the battle bus. I want to hear from our casters to prep us before game number 1.
Thank you so very much, Zeke. And yeah, find your seat on the battle bus. Find your seat in the arena here, because we are looking at a very contentious drop map. I know we focused in on a couple of those, you know, head-to-head face-offs, but there are so many more battles happening today.
I think one perfect example we were just discussing was the whole Vico Pink. But hold that thought, because the battle bus has gone off, and we're ready to roll into game 1.
The FNCS Global Championship game number 1 starts right now. There is the bus. Now we get to jump off and really take to the world and see who will be able to put up all of the numbers that they are claiming that they are worth. Let's watch it. We get to start things off here, of course, with King and Camer.
And keep in mind, we heard a little bit in the pre-game interviews, King, CalGamer, neither side particularly scared of the other. Both playing his best, but Thomas, he's taking the 50-50. It's Kanata, though, who's going to find the first down.
But it's a trade. It's a trade on both sides. Aegis is down as well. Kanata will have to do a big convert here or go head-to-head, toe-to-toe with Malabuka. Malabuka just has a singular build. He goes for the open exchange. And now Kanata's going for the push. Things are going to slow down. It's going to come down to everything. He gets the first tags. Can he get the follow-up here? Pressure's on. One more tag, and no! Kanata falls. Malabuka comes out on top.
Malabuka with the twin mag, but I don't think the pressure stopped just yet. He's taking a moment here, and that is massive. The reboot ban providing just enough coverage away from those pistol shots out of Kanata. And the first 50-50 will go EU's way.
And you can see that is the simple tactics coming into play. A little bit of high ground, all of a sudden the leverage was thrown onto the other side. But here we have Nutty and Gabzer who are contesting Bugha and Threats here at the Sanguine Sweep. This is a very tough battle to have to go against as well, because they too are going for a landing of 50-50, depending on, of course, what you pick up here. But so far, it does seem like Bugha has to play a little bit slow. I do not see his duo inside.
Threats seemingly already eliminated here, so Bugha will be forced to try and choose the proper moment to engage. Just gonna stay crouched for the time being, though. Again, keep in mind the amount of builds he actually has to work with. That Infiltrator Pump might be able to buy him a little bit of time as well, but seems as though Bugha is investing fully into weaponry here, understanding he can't take that extra second to reload. He doesn't have a teammate to fall back on just in case. And as for Nutty and Abzer, they seem to be just taking their time, actually prioritizing some of the loot inside of Sanguine.
Well, as one duo falls, another one rises up to the occasion. Here we have Iamzo and Rise looking pretty solid getting their drops and their route together. So far, so good. Speaking about other things happening, though, I did see Baka, who is also contested up towards the northern portion of the map, get an exchange off there, too. And here we get to take a look in with Queasy and Vino down at the Kenjutsu crossing.
Yeah, way outside of the map, and the real curious question to ask here is how well exactly they're going to be able to manage some of that early surge, because being this far south at Kenjutsu, it's not exactly the easiest in terms of elevation, having to deal with some of those other teams surrounding you. Can maybe expect that Queasy might look to wait for Venom to continue scouting a little bit further in, maybe towards the bridge. We might see them looking to implement a little bit of surge strategy. And Sloppy Shores, Tayson, he's having to eat some damage as is, but has plenty of shields to work back with.
Oh yeah, we all know that this here is definitely a very popular exchange. Teams will often fight it out, as Slappy Shore is one of the major POIs that will just yield so much additional heals, of course, that you can continue to play off of and bounce back from. Meanwhile, Merstache down low, continuing to get his material together. We're gonna jump on over to Gators and Stain here. Looking pretty solid over at the Frenzy Fields. Just north of this, we also know that Acorn and Cold were equally contested somewhere near their drop. And look, they've wiped the team, and they're on
世界大会
right now.
Also have to keep in mind
今日だっけ
Frenzy. I mean, that's bound to be Seti and Cammy's turf. That's
そう
where
ね
Seti and Cammy have been establishing themselves the entire year just about. So curious to see whether or not those two will clash. It seems as though Seti has already been eliminated.
ザゴってことでしょ
The fact that Seti and Data's were able to take care of them this early on is huge.
Big trade happening here. Now we see Yuma getting tags in the distance too. Surge, of course, is going to be one of the equally most important things to worry about. Meanwhile, in the feed, Acorn has found himself an elimination too. These are all of the contested battles happening here. The drop map standing true exactly as we expected. Teams that were aware of teams that were going to land on them are definitely fighting for it.
And you can imagine the confidence boost, the momentum that some of these teams engaging in those 50-50s are looking for. The best part about it is getting those eliminations so early on leaves you plenty of room to actually continue working on their pre-planned loop pathing. Not having to really worry about interference towards some of those rotations can make a big difference in positioning later on.
We'll talk about Acorn and Cole. Take a look here as they're moving out. They picked up their elimination. They're trying to see if they can single out the solo remaining, but nothing just yet. So not really getting greedy with the opportunity put in front of them, but instead banking that elimination. Remember, this is 5 games, right? Only 5 games. You pop off in game number 1, and all of a sudden you're really set up for a potential just seal top 25 for today, right? The goal is get to grand finals.
I mean, just think about the amount of sheer splashes that Acorn just had available for himself. 12 splashes to work with is a huge amount. They can definitely take their time in terms of finding those ideal movements in case they need a little bit of that slap effect to work with. Thoric, meanwhile, continuing to seek out a chest that might be left over. Seems to have an idea of
今日オールしないといけないから大変だ
one of these forecast towers. Maybe also keep
今
an
日
eye
ね
out
構
for
想
that reboot van in the distance as well.
6時から
For anybody that gets some ideas early on.
Forecast Tower is definitely extremely powerful. It's going to be one of the best pickups you can play for. In the distance, though, Sun's also not making it easy for
そうだ
anyone
から
rotating
禁
through the
止事項
valleys
とか
here.
で見た
Now we have Fastroki and Kylie. Down at the western, southernmost area of the map here, split up from his teammates, looking to hold out a potential
Oh.
maybe rotating down at the bottom. It could be Cal Gamer.
そうローさんと連絡取れたよ
duo.
ローさんと
Nearby.
ちょっと待って
Already exchanged between the two. You can see the passive standoff here, but these are fights that are so important. These are fights that you need to, at the very least, entertain for now.
And as far as Kylie is concerned as well, a little bit of leverage there over King with some of that height, but seems as though King has spotted out that Kylie is just a little bit across the way from him. But transitioning back over to Pink and Vico. A lot of these players just seeming to take their time. As long as you have a twin mag assault rifle, it just doesn't really seem as though there's too much pressure to activate some surge strategies early on, but Pink here really sitting
おまさん配信してる
of the augments that
あ
he's
バグ
gonna
ってるな
choose.
配信してるあ、何をYouTube か
YouTube 配信してる。Hold up. Looks like we got a little bit of a standoff
あだよね
here with the rotation on in hero.
だからか
Triple FHD. Pretty tough situation to be in. Tagged up here, forced to go ahead and bunker down, save for a second here. It's Ritual and Reet who have a bit of a high ground position here, looking down. Yeah. Nice spot to be in. Meanwhile, Heroes and Shari also nearby, getting the pressure of the lobby here. Ritual and Reet can determine any team that they want to put the pressure on, and others are going to look inwards to see if they can jump in on it.
Barely hanging on right now, just inside the edge of this zone. And the way that it's breaking out for them just does not seem to be all that favorable. Just like for Snazy and Podesai, under quite a bit of pressure here. Snazy's gonna have to take some time now to actually try and regen some of that white HP, some of that shield as well. Not sure if he even has any members to work with, but Podesai, he's scouting the area, making sure that they're both still aware of what exactly is surrounding them just outside of Rumble Ruins.
They're working here. The community rallying for Podesai here. But a very tough spot to be in halfway through the material. We get back to the fight here. Broken Bars already had 2 eliminations. And another team is looking to influence them a little bit more as they were trying to get to the new safety. This next zone here, just a minute left before it starts to move again. They're in a pretty difficult spot here. Getting deep into the trenches right now. Okay, Papa is holding it down here.
But again, this is a fight that you're expending time, you're expending some resources and build outside of the zone for both of these players, both these teams. Well, I say teams, but Papa left as a solo defend for himself. Trapped at brutal fashion, essentially.
画面助かしてた6時まで忘れておきちゃうようにお願いします。
Sharptooth just enough to take him out. Easy elimination in the 2 versus 1 scenario, but again, they're all the way at brutal. They still have to rotate into zone.
I just want to say, Mars was putting up a front in the back there, talking. Hey man,
ちなみにザゴーさんどんな感じ今回あ、なんかバンクやったんだっけ そう、ザゴーの初動の人がね
戦闘をムキムキパパと G が被ってなくて、アジア勢は。で、ムキムキパパが初動負けたけど、スペインデーラスが神セット倒して、
really set themselves up for success. Surge looking well, but not good enough to really conclude the battle, so they're just going to move on over. But for Queasy and Vino, I mean, they'd be surely excited to see Cammy and Seti not make it.
ベノ世界大会なんか結構人いってるくね
They're still able to continue trying to accrue some points on the leaderboards.
でも今ジャポイントらしいね
I know, taking his time right now with that suppressed sniper, seeing if he has an opportunity here, but instead, no, it's going to be off in the distance. True like
俺ベノ勝ってほしいけどな
Queasy and Venom on top of this hill.
ベノってハイグラ強い選手だっけ
ベノの優勝候補やね
Chicho and True Lights definitely under some pressure here. So they're not
だからね
the prettiest when it comes
ベノ
down
や
to
ば、
overall
死ぬ
material,
ベノ
but
死ぬ
all in all,
やばい
ベノ武器強すぎだろあ、このクレイジーか
here on the top of this
ベ
mountain.
ノ死ぬベノ死ぬ
Down out here, picking up augments now as well. Really
こいつらハイグラ取ったら勝ち確みたいなとこあったからな前見た時
where
ハイグラ
possible,
おるでしょ鉄砲とかが
they're just gonna have to rotate to greener
でもな
pastures.
対抗馬の神設定してんだから一試合
Giving
も
Queasy's
勝ちそう
loadout as well. That first assault definitely going to come in handy.
まあ俺の推しが生きてる
Got a
誰
twin mag.
あの
Bonus
DT ライ
damage
ズっ
always
て
a
人と
plus on that
なんだ
first
っ
shot. And the
け
same thing as
エ
well
リ
with
ー
the
トだっ
first
け
shot augment
な
that
ん
he
だ
had.
なんとか
Talking there
エ
with
ン
that
ゾンみ
gold.
たいな
Sharptooth.
あれ
So
ザコペポ死んだっ
can
け
definitely expect him.
いやペポザゴ初動フリーだ
Then
から生
expect
き
that
てる
there's a reason why.
ユノジャイもハイグライ
でも初動フリーな感じあったらサージがきつそうだよねザゴーにかかってる
ザコだ
でも海外勢の方がやばいからな
でもあれでしょ
ザコやばい
ラジラジもうペポとザコこれ今試合で終わりでしょ
Acquire just a few more builds, but understanding the
あでもここで世界大会1位取ったら普通に組み続けるんじゃね普通に
でもミリムと組んでるから今ザコ
いやそれはたまたま
あれたまたまでしょ組んでるわけではないでしょねあそ
即席で出てる
でしょ
Yeah, there are a couple late stragglers looking to make their way to the new zone. Meanwhile, Sphinx and Boyo sitting
いやでも正直ミリムよりペポの方が多分
like the positioning so far. No
あれがあるからねミリムの場合は前科があるからね
Meanwhile, on the feed,
でも
Miro
ルカ
taking
が
zone damage to himself, possibly taking
ル
some
ナが
fall
遊んでる
damage,
でしょ
possibly being deep in the
だから
zone here,
ちょっと
falling on a late
俺やんない
rotate.
よ
化け物おるようちにルカさん。相
Troubles
方バン
on
さ
the
れ
horizon
て、
here.
ソロで、
Not forget, Miro
ソロで
has
しかもやんないといけないのに、パッド
he
選
has
手
the
とかチ
FNCS
ャージも稼げ
titles
ない
under
し、
his belt, but is
でもそれ無理じゃね？
一番入れないかわいそうな人いる。
Let's watch those Sphinx. Look at the
結
material
構
shown
バン
here.
されるんだ、
Desperately
やっぱり。
to get somewhere that he
めっちゃ
can
バンされたの。
replenish.
EU
So
勢
coming into the mega city
ロ
comes
シア
with
ダ
some
メ、ロ
risk,
シア
but
ダ
there
メ
it
だ
is.
し、オセアニア勢チ
Refarming
ーター
material
バ
is
ン
going
さ
to
れ
be
た
the
し。
name of the game for them. Meanwhile,
でなんか
security
確かにでもさ、オフライン大会でチート使うのむずすぎだろ。
a
あ、
huge
無理だよ。
チート
gain
が発
here
覚
if
し
you
た。
of
グラファー
course
で
can
使ってたの
secure
やっぱり。
this.
パソコンが
15 points.
できるようにするもん
You
で
are the first to Rift Island to go ahead and
なんかい
convert.
そうだけどな、一人ぐらい今までに。やろうとしてるやつ。
あ、今映ってる人奥に DT ライズとかにも
お、サージ以下じゃん。マリブッカ。
でもマリブッカにやばいよ、シャドウエアリ一本でカナダとチクラッチしてる。かっけえよ。だからスラジアムトレンド強い。
俺メニューピオの配信見てる今。
マジでフォルス
フォルスさんうるさい、語りばっかするから。ナルボット見とくわ。
寝る。うるさくないと寝るって。
They've got to be careful now because
キムキパパ
that's
た
some
ち
good loot.、
世界大会前のスク
Another
リー
way
ム
to
で
look
総合
at that,
9位。
Baka has 3 elims. They scored more points than those 3 eliminations are worth in just a matter of
でもなんかわかんない選手多いわ、でも。何気に。
very, very great way to put yourself into a Sunday position.
結構でもみんなこれ、今強いってこと？時代来てるってこと？このなんかよくわかんない、俺が見たことない選手何人かいるけど。
でもみんなうまいよ。だってあれだもん、グラファで上位行った人だ。ラストチャンスメジャー組は。
リートとかいないの？
いるよいるよ。
リート俺見たいんだよね。
リートって知られてるので、エピックフイレがクリックする。
ピグレ出てほしいこれ。
生産とこれが一緒組んでるやん。AJS が。
AJS ステインと D 出す？
めっちゃいいやん。1位やん。
強すぎだろこれ。
こっちよりでしか。
オート強いね今。
オート？いや、ラゲーからワンチャン強い。
ああ。
ワンボックスされたらすごいね。ラゲー。ちゃんこれアビリティ見れるようになったので。やばいやん、これステインでやつ。
交代久々に見たわ。バロラントしたいんだよね。ラッパも今見てるかな。ラッパ今何やってんの？ラッパにいよ。バロス。誘い込む。無理やりでも。まさナイトマーケット何やったの？
言えばいいじゃん。俺ら感じで。
100の誰？またログインしないといけなくなるの。
To see whether or not they want to try and finalize an elimination onto Buga. Buga definitely aware, definitely closing in.
これ GG 諦めましょう。
Separation there.
残しんだ。
Feels as though it might be his opportunity to strike, but Gon being certainly aware of the fact that they're going to have Buga trailing him behind. He's trying to take shots where he can. Gon having some difficulties getting those builds up behind him.
じゃあ壊しんで。
レイジーは寝てるでしょ、レイジーが。
テパ残ってんのか今。
いや、ロワとやらないとやっていいな。
Now he does have to move in, so just 97 above he will recognize that of course he has to continue to fight and push his way through this.
あれやればいいじゃん。
いやだ、アンレアマジストレスされてることに気づいちゃったから俺。
And other trades happening here too. 7-man finding an elimination. His teammate Shari gets one as well, so Middle East finding their success here too. Let's step on over to Miro. Miro who picked up Okiss just a bit ago. That's going to be the single Elam in the pocket there. And a long, long rotate now as they have to push all the way eastern here if he wants to get safe.
You can see Miro
うわー、サ
Kind
ー
of
ジ
just
きつ
hoping
そう。
that nobody's gonna spot him out from Mega City, but for Mira and Cooper,
来年はルカさんが
all
ここ
too
にいる
easy pickings here. On the Poroka is trying to hold his own, but unfortunately, this pincer
なんだよ。
over is one that we've seen time and time
俺マジ6時まで寝れないから
Mira
ね。
and Cooper. Just a
でも、
synchronized
エイジ
attack
スがった。
that is way too problematic.
内藤世界大会何時までこれ？
わかんない。予定では4時。
全部見るんでしょ、内藤。じゃあ、この通話いてね。俺朝6時から構想始まるから、ギャング。そう。見ねえよ。雑談しとくんだよ。俺のポルツしてほしい？いいよいいよ。じゃあ俺解説合わせるわ。さあ、ここで、オルティって言ってもらこれ。なんて言うの？誰それ？アレックスは知ってるよ。聞いたことある、こいつ。さあ、ザゴー選手確保入ってない。これはでかい判断ですね。さあ、ここで。さあ、アレックスさんたちは移動を選んできました。後ろから一人来てるんで、まあこれどうやって移動していくか、見どころですね。キロ選手。さあ、これ対空怖いところではある。だが1点も打たれずに移動成功。まあナイス移動ですね。で、サージ140以上。まあちょっと当てたい状況ではある。がまあここは一旦落ち着いて、ミニピオ。さあ、ここで、さあ、全体画面入りました。さあ、ヒロ選手の仲間さん、ダウン食らっちゃってますね。さあ、これ、ヘイト買わないように、もう下がる判断をしていきました。さあ、ここから一人でどこまで伸ばせるかよな。さあ、回復もない状況。さあ、どこまで伸ばせるかね。まあ、一桁順位まで入ったら天才やね。さあ、ここでベノ選手、物資が強すぎる。まあ、ベノクエンジンが、ハイギラを狙ってくるっていうのは、まあ、想定できるし。うん。なんか大体わかるよな。このクラパは。このクラパの意味で、はい、絶対高く積む。メガシティだから。ここにエッジピグレいらないの？なるほどね。やべえぞ、俺。ああ、いや、それはしゃあない。今のは分からん。絶対音すごいし。ここはまあね、ザコウ選手、まあ、切り替えていってほしいところ。まあ、これはアジアが舐められる理由でもありますね。いや、俺ベノ推しだから。いや、もうベノ見たらキーマでやりたくなります。やばいくらやばくねえ、山上。どれがやばいかって言われたらエンジョイ大会のさ、ずっとなんか山上でいるやつ。思うよ。これ俺だったら全段ヘッションで落とすね。ここで、ピースコントロールしますね、僕だったら。マリブカいいね。ハイゲラ？さあ、ここはセカハイか。セカハイを選んでいきましたね。クラッパーがあるから、クラッパー持ってる人はハイ狙ってくるやろうけど。
Here's a little early glimpse into the leaderboard so far in match number 1, and Thomas Malabuka, they seem to be leading the charge. And with Ping and Kyrie having just been freshly eliminated there, this is a moment. It's all Malabuka and Thomas in the seas, though. They might try to work their way up through that secondary height layer, but as far as Mustache and Payson are concerned, they know they've got teams surrounding them.
もう壊れたのも絶対判定わからないでしょ。
It's about picking the right direction to go, and a lot of these teams trying to avoid some of the water that's just on side of the zone.
いやマジでここあれば今が勝ちます。
Meanwhile, Queasy and Vino, some of EU's best on the move right now. Crashbats perfectly keeping them in position right now. But Snazy and Plotosite fall on this rotate here. Very tough time for them. Indeed, Queasy playing for high ground right now.
あ、これ取れたくね？クイズ。
We love about Queasy, but no, someone's gonna shut that dream down. All the material commit there put to waste as now they've
キーでハイの取り方うまくねこいつら。
reconnected. High ground is theirs here.
じゃないや。ベノがこう。
クラパって落ちた後に下に耐えても落下する。
あ、そうなん？
上で耐えて降りないといけない。下に耐えても。
キングきつすぎだろこれ。なんで生きてんのこいつ。なんで。悪いコバックスしろよ。あ、今のオーラ？いやこれはベノだね。
Invitational, they're doing it at the championship so far. Remember, this is going to be arguably the most difficult bracket to fight your way out of. It is, of course, the 50 best that played through their respective times of those seasons throughout this entire year.
But look up, it's Queasy, it's Veno. They get chopped momentarily by Mustache, but it's still not seeming to deter them.
これベノたちまずいな、資材が。
Hoping that this legendary slurp juice is going to buy him enough time to get out of this difficult position that he's landed into with Payson and Cole. Meanwhile,
なんでゴールできんだよそれで。
trying to charge his way forward, looking to stay as close to Acorn as possible. Because as things continue to move, you can expect all these other duos to follow suit. And Alex gonna get shot immediately a limb.
Meanwhile, High Ground goes for a fight here. Mustache and Payson trying to take it all away. They take down OCE's power, Alex as well there.
さあこれで今ハイグラベノ。
No, they have to conclude. They have to concede and they give it down. Queasy puts up the fight against Tayson and puts him down as well. No material left. We're the high ground team, a very tough spot to be in, but it's all or nothing now. This game is already theirs. This is surely a successful run.
なんでこいつらこれで生きてんだよ。
But they just need just barely enough builds to actually connect it to the hill over this water where everyone else is trying to deal with it. Reed though,
しかも場所的に結構ハイグラ強くね。リートどこリートどこ？おリート勝ったリート勝った。リートいいね。さすがだ。うん、リート勝ったらやばいよ。何やってんの？なんでい？なんでさ今さ降りたのわざわざ。もう浮いてたよ固くね。なあ。あ、インタビュー
And they're doing just that. Lucky for us, we have Frankie there for the word. Yes, I have run down to this booth. I knew exactly where you were sat, boys. This is exactly the start you were looking for. So stand up so Copenhagen can see you. Come on, Queasy. Veno, what's it like to win the first
渋谷春見とくからなもう。
global championship? Because I know that